Hi guys, Pete here from Ashton's Cars, and today I'm with this Mercedes E-Class. This is an E350 model. It's the petrol CGI model, so it's a little bit unusual. We get quite a few E-Classes in. They're one of the more popular cars that we sell in the sort of executive sector, but a majority of them are CDI models, 320 CDIs. This is the 350 CGI. Sounds similar, but a very different machine altogether, because this car's got a 6-cylinder petrol engine. It's a genuine 155 mile an hour car. It's limited, in fact, to 155 mile an hour, because that engine produces 268 horsepower. 0 to 60 in 6.7 seconds. So it's a really quick thing, really good looking car as well. It's Avantgarde spec, this one, so it's got all the bells and whistles. The real beauty of these particular model has come into their own. They're quite rare because when these cars were new back in 2008 and 2009, everyone was buying diesels because our great leaders were telling us that diesel was the future and the way to go. So there were massive incentives for everyone to buy one. Not many people opted for the petrol. However, things have changed, and now diesel is apparently Satan's fuel. And we must all drive. Hybrids, electrics, petrols are still okay though. So, the short story of that is this car is actually ULEZ compliant, whereas its diesel equivalent is not, because it doesn't throw out quite as many harmful gases as the diesel car. So, if you live in London, certainly parts of Birmingham, there's something Bristol is coming on board, Bath. A lot of the big cities now are starting to have these very low emission zones. This car is free to drive in a low emission zone. The diesel model of the same car is not. So these are now starting to really, because they're quite rare anyway, because everyone bought the diesel when they were new, the petrols are beginning to get very sought after. And that's why I bought this one. I've actually got a very similar car in diesel, so if you prefer the diesel version, have a little look at my advert or click on the link to see our other videos, and you will see the one for the diesel model. But nevertheless, if you live in London particularly, or Birmingham, this is probably the better car for you, because it still does, according to Merck, about 30 miles per gallon. So that's pretty impressive really, and the charge you're going to be paying per day to drive a diesel in those cities will be greatly offset. Anyway, it's 12 quid a day, I think it is, which is just ridiculous, but there we go. So petrol seems to be the way to go. I've also left it running. I mean, the advantage of this being petrol, it is a lot quieter than the diesel version, if I'm being honest. It's much smoother. Not that the diesel's not a smooth car, actually the 320 diesel in particular is a really good engine. But obviously with a petrol engine, it's quieter, it's smoother, and I've left it running for the video just to prove that. If it was the diesel, I would switch it off at this point, because you wouldn't be able to hear me properly. So, it's a good looking car, this. It's only done 92,000 miles. It's obviously a petrol engine mated to, I believe, a 7-speed Tiptronic automatic gearbox, so it really does shift. Let's just take you around the body and just show you how this one particular car stacks up. We have got 17-inch alloy wheels because it's an Avantgarde. Avantgarde spec do mean slightly lower suspension than the standard car. Coming around the back, we've got parking sensors to the rear. There are parking sensors to the front as well. Car's in very good condition. You'll notice there's a few trees reflecting on it in the minute, but the bodywork is excellent on this particular car. It's been really well looked after. Got good tyres all round. Still got its original Mercedes plates around on the back. I've removed the one off the front because it was looking a bit tired, but that's just from where it's been obviously used for the last 14 years. But it's all original, this car. A couple of little marks on it, well, nothing really to sort of get too upset about, but there is a very small mark by there. Someone's just caught their door on it by the looks of things. It's not something that's going to upset you, and you probably wouldn't notice it unless I pointed you out, but I'm good at shooting myself in the foot and showing everyone the flaws. I just think it looks a really level, nice thing. This make and model of car, it remains classy, doesn't it? It's a timeless design in Mercedes. Nice long sweeping bonnet, that 3-pointed star at the end of it. it just has a look of class and sophistication. Let's have a quick look in the boot, or the trunk if you're in America. Well, the good news is it's huge, and also, unlike a lot of rivals, yeah, it's completely level. Some of the Jags and stuff have got these lumps and bumps in them, which I don't understand why they do that this day and age. But yeah, it's all nice and level. That is a little hook there for your carrier bags, just to keep your boot tidy. Hasn't got split fold seats. They don't tend to have that, these type of cars. The 5 Series BM doesn't either. I think the Audi does. If you're after a boot space alone, buy an Audi A6. But other than that, to be honest with you, I'd have the Mercedes E-Class over it. It's just a classier car, isn't it? Into the back, my seat's right back at the minute, but there's still acres of room behind me. The passenger seat's at a more sensible position. As you can see, you can pretty much spread out in the back of here. If you like ruffled leather, we've got it aplenty in here. So it's full black leather in this particular car. Nice inoffensive interior, looks clean and tidy. It's got ISOFIX as well, should you have child seats to put in it. As you can see, the car looks all original. You can see that by the footwells. It's not been sprayed or messed about with at all. It's a nice level car. It's what I'm looking for if I'm buying a used Mercedes. Let's have a look in the business end of things. So I've got that seat right back so as I can get in and out quickly to show you this video, but it is back probably further than even I'd have it, and I do sit quite far back in a car, so there's normally a bit more room in the back than I just showed you. Look at that for a nice layout. This car is 14 years old and it still looks absolutely superb inside. It's classy. There's wood, but there's not too much wood. There's leather, but it's nice, good quality leather. It's not too shiny. It looks classy. The little rip in the mat is just an over mat. I'll swap that for a better one. It's not the actual original carpets. They're underneath and they've been preserved and are in good condition. It's done 92,000 miles and it absolutely, driving this car around, it still feels like a new car. We have got electric memory seats, which are heated. We've obviously got climate control, and it has got the navigation system in it as well, which I'll show you in a minute. And yeah, it's not the most state-of-the-art one compared to some of the new cars, but it does the trick for me. It's got Bluetooth on it as well, so I can put my phone on it, and that's a big thing for me. Any real negatives? Well, the guy obviously liked resting his elbows by here. It's cracked the leather, or the leatherette I think that is, on the driver's door card. It's not really something that I'd be too worried about, and it is purely cosmetic, but there is that one little blemish on the interior. But apart from that, what a beautiful interior of a car. And the great thing about this Mercedes is that it just, you know it's going to last the test of time. This car's 14 years old, and when I sit in here, which I will now, everything feels solid. Let's turn that down. Everything in here feels solid. Everything works. The heated seats work properly. The navigation works properly. Everything in here does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it will continue to do so, because I've had Mercedes myself for years, and you can't find a better built car than these. I'm sorry. I know some people will criticise Merc because, I don't know, they had a bulb go once on their E-Class. To be honest with you, these are one of the best cars for looking the part for years to come, if that makes sense. They don't age like a normal car. I look down that bonnet now and I've got that classy 3-pointed star down at the end of the bonnet. I love that. It's like looking down the barrel of a gun. I love the way the controls are set out on the car. It's easy to get to things. I can easily change the temperature, put my heated seat on. I haven't got to go through a sub menu on a trip computer and wrap the car around a lamppost while I'm trying to adjust my seat. It's so easy to use. I've got cruise control on a lever here. No other manufacturer has got a better system for their cruise control than that. It's also got a speed limiter function, which is great, especially with the amount of cameras that are around now. God, I need to turn that heated seat off. It's bloody boiling today. That's better. Yeah, I was just roasting myself. The aircon is ice cold in this car as well. It's got service history. It's got all the right bits, really, if you're looking for one of these. I've got a classy sort of gear lever there. It's not some weird fandangled thing. It's a traditional automatic. I just put it in drive and off it goes. But I've got a comfort and a sport mode to that. I can change gear manually if I want to. I'm just putting that into reverse because I have got reverse sensors as well, and they show up on a little thing by there. That will come on the front ones, and the back ones, if you look in the mirror, there's also one in the back there, which you can't really see there. That little black thing lights up when I'm close to objects. So the car's easy to drive. If you're looking for something this size, a used E-Class is the best. Automatic box, don't buy a manual one, they're rubbish. I used to always say buy the diesel, but that was purely because the diesel is a little bit better on fuel. But with this doing 30 to the gallon, it's within 10 miles per gallon of the diesel anyway. The petrol is now cheaper at the pumps than diesel, and you're not paying that ULEZ charge. So actually, when you put all that into consideration, plus the fact that the petrol engine is quicker, quieter, smoother, I would buy this CGI petrol if it was my money. So that's my tip on E-Classes. And I think the prices on these petrol ones is going to start rising up because there's not many around, and there are a lot of people who like to be driving this type of car in London, and they don't necessarily want to be forking out 50 grand for the latest electric vehicle. If you're not doing a high mileage, why would you want to do that? So it's much cheaper to have this, and actually, regardless of what any government or anyone else tells you, it's much better for the planet to buy a used car than it is to buy a new electric car, because electric cars, they'll have been manufactured. If we went and scrapped all our petrol and diesel cars tomorrow and all had to manufacture that many new electric vehicles, it would cause much more harm to the planet. So the best way of being kind to the environment is actually to buy a used vehicle. And what better one than this? If you buy a Mercedes, I can guarantee you're not going to need to be changing it anytime soon. You will love this car so much, you will hang on to it for years. And that, to me, is a lot better for the environment, a lot better for you as well, economically. Right, so that's my lecture for today over. All that's left for me to do really is just go back outside, wander around the car and tell you how to get in touch with us. If you are interested in this car, which has got a full book back with it, 2 keys, I've got the logbook, I've got all the details that we need for the car. It's pretty much spot on, this vehicle is. I've actually used it for a couple of days myself. It's actually currently taxed by us. My colleague used it for a few days previously, and we've loved every minute behind the wheel. So it's tried and tested. My number, if you're interested in getting behind the wheel, is 07932 873 646. This car is available for nationwide delivery. I'm happy to take a part exchange. Let me know what you've got, and as far as the delivery goes, let me know where you are and I'll work out a deal to suit you. Thanks very much for watching the video. Please give us a like, please subscribe to our channel, and tell your friends and family. And obviously feel free to comment below your thoughts on the current diesel or petrol, or should I go and buy a new electric car conversation. My own personal thing is buy a petrol, enjoy it, and don't get sort of bamboozled into buying a 50 grand electric car that you probably don't need. If this is going to serve your purposes, it's a lot cheaper. It's not going to be, you're not going to be costing ULEZ charges, and it is kinder to the planet, which they don't tend to tell you. Thanks very much for watching again, guys. 07932 873 646. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have a great day wherever you are. Goodbye.